Hey everyone, Judy Dang here today. Oh my goodness, special guest Elaine Hausman, video performance coach. Welcome, Elaine.
Judy, I'm thrilled to be with you.
It's gonna be
We're
super fun.
going public, Judy. We've always had good conversations. This one's going public.
Okay,
So,
that's right. And Elaine's gonna do show and tell for us today around video and Zoom. And my first question for Elaine is, most of us are familiar with using Zoom, the basics now. It's been 6 months, 7 months. What do you see are the possibilities for taking it to the next level beyond the basics of Zoom?
wonderful. And for me, the basics mean being seen and heard. Is there light on you? Are you loud enough? I leave the other basics of Zoom, like how to get 49 people per page. I'll leave that to a Zoom tutorial. But my focus is really, as long as we're in here, making it count so that it speaks for us, because we're not here for no reason. We're here to have a message. We're here to contribute. We're here to engage.
Mhm.
And I think something valuable for people, I have seen a sea change. I will go on to a Zoom event and I see people really putting in some effort. I think you put in beautiful effort. People are being seen, they are being heard. Every once in a while, there's still someone showing more of their ceiling than themselves. But there's something that when you really focus on that, when you really frame yourself and get yourself anchored. I was doing a Zoom event for a private Facebook group, and there was a beautiful gentleman. I mean, he was so clearly wonderful at what he did, with a library behind him. He had an environment, he had light, and he was so credible in his own right. And yet there was most of the ceiling.
Hmm.
And it was as simple as saying, "You're on a laptop, aren't you?" "Yes, I am." Just put it down, start lowering the laptop. And literally, he came into view. And when that happens, it's not that you just come into view for us. You come into view for yourself, because
Hmm.
when you frame yourself well,
Mhm.
when you really find that grounded, claiming your space frame,
Mm.
you start coming into view for yourself.
Mm.
You start seeing yourself better and the possibilities for yourself of how much more present and connected you can be.
Mhm.
So I think
Mhm.
there's something very powerful about that. It's not just for us, it's for you too.
That's very nice because yes, the basics of lighting and angle and everything is for the other people, and you're saying the next level is to claim our space for ourselves as well.
It's so true. And I'm going to add something. Judy, I'm going to add something right where we're talking about lighting. Here I am with a green screen. We'll go into a little more detail later, but there's a wonderful thing called a Loom Cube that Zoom recommends. It's for video conferencing, and
Oh.
it's very specifically so that you are lit. But there's things to consider. You have to really think about if you're adhering it to your monitor or your laptop screen, or it's sitting above your computer, literally sitting there. You have to think, if you're going to be on for a long call, you've got a light going straight in your eyes. Now,
Mhm.
it's wonderful to have that glisten in your eyes. It's just so beautiful, but you're looking into light. And
Ah,
that can be hard.
it-
All of a sudden, you're being interviewed by the police for hours. I mean, it's really wearing on you. So it can be a much better idea to have the light that comes from your sides,
okay.
so you are lit, or best of all, in front of a window.
Uh-huh.
I've got a window going on here with some added light. But
Got it.
also, if you're using a green screen,
Yep.
you need light so the green screen doesn't break up, because we've all seen it sort of starting to disintegrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have you have a window and additional lights and your green screen.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. So even when we do go back to in-person conferences and meetings, virtual is here to stay, I think. What do you recommend for speakers who are so used to being in person, so used to being able to build rapport in person, to build rapport with a virtual audience?
It's different. It's different. There is something to being on a stage. There's something to being at the head of the boardroom or even a smaller room. There is a kind of connection that happens from sending our energy. It's not so different from being on a stage, even as an actor or a speaker, where the nature of that connection, you are sending yourself to everyone in the room, whether they're in the front row, the back row, and maybe you've got a balcony. You are kind of expanding yourself.
Yeah.
And in video, you have the luxury of being quieter, much less effortful,
Huh.
because what's so helpful in video is stillness, because that brings people to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very powerful change in the energetic. And I know some people will say, you need to be energetic in here, come on in, and we won't pay attention unless you're energized. Guess what? I'm not a believer. If it's your brand, do it. And I will support you all the way. But if it's not, there's something very powerful that draws an audience to you by being more minimal, because we're in a very small space in here.
Yeah.
We don't need to be sending, we need to draw in.
Ah.
And so the dynamic of the connection is different, and we're allowed to go deeper.
Okay. Wow.
It gives
Wow.
us the opportunity to have something deeper, because by nature, I mean, this is intimate.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
This is a small stage. So there's some modulation that happens between in person and in this world.
Right. Yeah. And you're saying that using stillness draws people in.
In the same way that we all know, even being on a stage, all of a sudden you're silent.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
The pause.
The pause.
The power of the pause. Yes.
The power of the pause is just as powerful in here, and stillness, or that simplicity, is really powerful in here too.
Yes, and that's not how we're usually taught, as speakers. We're to grab attention, and because there's so many things that a viewer at home could be distracted by. Like I can open up another browser and play a game over here, and that's what we're taught to, grab it.
What's so interesting too is I know a truly, I mean, just a remarkable coach. This man is excellent. And he was starting a YouTube channel. And he said, will you watch, Elaine? This is a man with valuable content. And he really knows how to present. He really knows how to present in public at the head of a room. And there he was. And it was what everything was saying was phenomenal. But he taught, and we're going to take you on this step, and you're going to see it through to the, and then you're going to go, and you're going to, I tell you, every time he used his hand, it's like, you don't know your own strength. He was throwing me across the room energetically.
Ah.
And it was so interesting, because it was like very discombobulating. We need enough stillness to be able to follow you in a small space like this.
Mm-hmm.
If we get too big,
Mm-hmm.
we also become a moving target. And quite honestly, we connect with our eyes.
Mhm.
And if you are that moving target,
Mhm.
we can't be with you connected long enough to really get in there with you. We are losing you because we're trying to keep track of you.
Right. Okay.
So
So
it's interesting. It's a
yeah,
different dynamic.
it is a
If you
different.
decide to accept that mission,
Uh,
this is a mission, a very particular desire
mm,
to make video work and have real impact, have
mm,
it make an actual difference
mm, yeah.
in what you do and in your reach
What potential?
virtually.
So using video for business, yes. Uh, what would you recommend for people who are very concerned about, business people, very concerned about how do I show up, um, and especially for women, how do I concern about how we appear on
Yes,
camera?
wonderful. Um, I will say that the one person who said, "Can you help me with my wrinkles?" was an absolutely wonderful man. And I respected him so much for asking me. But yes, I know in some cases this can seem a women's issue, but believe me, men want to look their best too. But there is something very interesting, and I tried to find his name this morning and I couldn't. There is a former commercial producer. I think his name is Ian. It's about camera confidence and how he works with women to have them study their faces in the mirror. So I'm going to take you on a little journey now and things I've added that I think may enhance it even more. Part of what happens and why we're uncomfortable maybe with how we look, there is this disconnect between how we think we look and how we actually appear. And that there is the chance that we're actually carrying around a younger version in our mind's eye than how we actually appear to others. And there is a journey you can take. Go to your mirror and study your face in the mirror for 1 month, 5 minutes every day, and objectively study your face. Now, here is where Zoom is our friend. In case you don't have a medicine cabinet that's a mirror that allows you to open it so you can see your face in reverse,
Right.
which is even more objectifying if you don't. Here's where Zoom is our friend. This is our mirror.
Uh,
Go into your settings, uncheck mirror view.
oh,
You will see yourself in reverse
oh,
so that you can really study your face very objectively.
objectively. Okay.
There
So,
is something that happens, Judy, over time. And while you take that journey, there's a coming into yourself. There's a kind of getting to know yourself, a
mhm,
coming in, a self-acceptance,
okay.
and on the, forgive me, bordering on mushy. There's some falling in love.
Uh,
There is some
with your
falling
face.
in love. It is a very kind, loving
Mm, mm,
experience. And there is a real change that happens from that.
mm.
And I'll also say, you will know when you're ready for another dose. All of a sudden, okay, I need another month.
Uh-huh.
But I have to say, when I did that, it
Uh-huh.
really produced some love, some self-acceptance. And I'll tell you, that medicine lasted a long time.
Wow, that's very powerful. That's a very powerful prescription, Elaine.
And, and Judy, I'm going to add one more thing. I was aware that when I was doing it, that the picture I was holding
Yeah.
was from 8 years older, a birthday photograph, 8 years
Uh-huh.
younger than I was. And no wonder we had that disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah. I have the same. My brother, when we were younger, he called me basketball head.
Well, how kind of him. I guess it's a compliment.
So every time I look at my face, I think, do I have a round face? I have that story. Thanks to,
How
one time.
kind. Yeah. And believe me, get on into that mirror. It really, it's actually a friend, and it takes us on a journey. It's very rewarding.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's a great prescription. Fall in love with your face.
It's true.
Yes, lovely.
Judy. I'm looking, I'm supposed to look at the camera. That's where the connection is.
Yeah.
But, I'm sneaking my peeks at you too.
Yeah. So tell us, give us some show and tell. Give us a
Wonderful.
demo. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
The nature of where I live is not my brand. It doesn't represent my brand.
Hmm.
So because of that, I use a green screen.
Hmm.
And here is a painting. It's a very real painting, or a painting on cement that I chose that kind of speaks for me. Clearly, there's an artistic bent in me, so that's what I chose. But let's go into a virtual setting. I want to show you what this is an actual green screen.
Okay.
And I want to show you if I take it off. Now you're used to seeing that kind of cutout,
Mm-hmm.
and where it kind of, there's gloppy things that can happen, and all of a sudden it kind of like doesn't work. So this is what Zoom offers, where the technology just isn't there yet. But we really do know that there is strange things going on in here when we don't have our actual green screen. So I'm going to put mine back on, and you can see you really do look much more real in front of it. But I want to show you some other things too. So for instance, let me find it. I'm searching my gallery. Here I am. Many people like to put themselves in, a virtual living room, and you can see this in a lot of your events. So and I want to get in here just a little bit better. So what you'll see is when someone has curly hair, or it even sticks out a little bit by the nature of the choice of their, the design of their hair, it can produce this little crinkly aspect because, everything's kind of being seen through there.
Yeah.
You can mitigate it very well by having something that's the same kind of darkness or deeperness
Okay.
as your hair.
Got
So
it.
I'm mitigating that issue.
So you're saying it's okay to use those living room backgrounds, but pick one
I'm
back.
saying, would I do it? Gee, it feels good in here. I really like it. Am I an architect? No. This is for show and tell. Is it right for me as a brand? Probably not.
Right.
It really doesn't speak to me.
Got it.
Maybe, maybe this speaks in a certain instance. This speaks for when I teach, because I want something very quiet when I'm working with people. But let me show you. Here we are. We know this from Zoom. We know this. And we know that the nature of having a green screen, it's made it a little bit better than when we usually see what happens. So it's made it a little bit better. Now here I am. This is working pretty well with a real green screen.
Yep.
Because once again, there is that tendency toward a crinkle in your hair if it isn't smooth. But a real, Now, I'm going to mention a couple of other things, and then I'm going to come back to my land where I was with you. And here we are. So I'm back. And I'm happy to answer more questions. But I know that Zoom, God bless them, even has green screen attachments that you can put behind your chair. And I'm told pros and cons. It can work for people very well. On the other hand, if you want to recoil it and store it away, I'm told that is not so easy. Whereas I have the simplest frame, my green screen stretches across it, you collapse it, it's in a small duffel bag, put in my closet.
Yeah. So for
Yes.
people who do this often, who do a lot of teaching or speaking, or want to be aligned with their brand, do use a green screen with a background that aligns with your topic, your brand, your business. Align those.
Wonderful. And I'm the first to say, I love real environment. If you have an office that absolutely suits you, you know, Judy Dang from the desk of, I mean, there's something wonderful. Or when you're in your living room, that other beautiful space you have, it speaks volumes about you. Modern, clear, clean. There is a kind of organized thought and beauty that I see when you're in that space. If you have an environment or even your living room that speaks well for you and is somewhat aligned with your brand,
Use it.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. Just get it so it's as loud and clear as possible so that there is order. We will lose our connection
Right.
if things aren't in order. You know,
Yeah.
if books are all up, straighten them. Because we're
Okay.
going to notice when things are out of order, just it all becomes quiet with less, maybe one less pillow on the couch, whatever it is, just create some order or simplicity. And that will help us zero in on you. But believe me, I crave real environment.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I'm sharing one moment.
I know you're on your board.
I know. These are my tips from Elaine right here. Claim your space. Yes. And stillness draws people in, draws the audience in. And Elaine's 30-day prescription, fall in love with your face. Fall in love with your face. Simplify. Put things in order.
Yeah.
Simplicity.
Oh my God.
And that's your website.
It's like you're a brilliant copywriter. I mean, this is so perfect. This is how you talk in video. You completely distill your message into the simplest words so we hear you. And we get, look at the aha you gave us.
I know, right? And ElaineHausman.com is where Elaine is at. Wow, thank you so much for the encouragement, the support, the tips today.
I'm loving being with you, and I'm so grateful you asked.
Yeah, so
Thank
fun.
you, Judy Dang.